Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is Matt Leighton. Now, are you interested in purchasing a condo in Arlington, Virginia, but maybe don't know the first steps to take, or you're out looking and want to make sure you're headed in the right direction? Well, what I wanted to do today is bring you the top things that you need to know before you purchase a condo in Arlington, Virginia. Now, originally I was going to start with the top 15, then I narrowed it down to the top 10 things that you need to know, and then I narrowed it down even more to the top 5 things that you need to know before you purchase a condo. So if you're thinking about buying in Arlington, Virginia, please watch this video before you make your purchase. And without further ado, let's get to the top 5 things you need to know, starting with number 1. Number 1 is seek financial qualification. At the bare minimum, before you go out and look at condos, you should at least be pre-qualified. What does this mean? Well, it means you've actually gone out, you spoke with your mortgage officer, and they have given you a broad overview of what you can expect to afford. Now, there's pre-qualification, but what you really want is to be pre-approved. This means that you fill out a mortgage application, you supply the necessary paperwork, and then at that point your lender gives you a letter stating the exact amount you can afford. Now, the reason we do this is because when you go out, you look at condos, you walk into one, you absolutely love it, you want it, it's your dream condo, you cannot wait to get the keys, so you submit your offer and you also include that lender letter in the offer. Now, if you have not gone out and done this, it might take a few days to get that letter, and in this market, a few days could cost you the condo. Even worse, we could find out that we've been looking at condos for $500,000 when you're actually only approved for $450,000, which would be terrible. So the reason we do this is to save you time and to put you in the right direction. So first and foremost, seek financial qualification. Number 2 is be prepared to see a variety of styles, low rise, high rise, with some amenities, without amenities. Now you might be saying to yourself, Matt, I just want a high rise, 1 bedroom in Clarendon with a gym. What else is there to it? Well, so be it, but my concern is that 6 months after you buy, you realize that Roslyn was actually the right neighborhood for you. So what I'm trying to say is don't pigeonhole yourself too early into one exact thing. In Arlington, a lot of condos were built in a lot of different styles. So maybe you want a larger 2-bedroom but can get away with a 1-bedroom and den, or maybe you were looking at a 1-bedroom but could really do a smaller 2-bedroom. So be prepared to see a lot of varieties of styles. Sometimes you have to see what you don't like in order to see what you do like. Number 3 is condo fees. When looking at different condos, you need to keep an eye on the condo fee because it's going to vary by community. Be sure to understand how much the condo fee is and what you actually get with that condo fee. So what are condominium fees? Well, condo association fees will vary by community, and they're dependent on how many units are in the community, how much it costs to run the community, if there's funds set aside for major repairs, and if there's funds set aside for an unforeseen lawsuit. What's going to happen, our condo fees are judged based on how big your condo is, so the bigger units pay the bigger fees. Now, some things that are included in condo fees are exterior maintenance, water, trash, sewer, landscaping, among many, many others. So be sure to know the condo fees and make sure you can afford this extra payment because unlike your mortgage, the condo fee is not tax deductible. Number 4 is owners and investors. Find out who the occupants of the building are. Is it mostly owners or mostly tenants? Now, if you plan on making the condo your full-time residence, you're probably going to want a higher owner occupancy rate so that you're living amongst other property owners. But what if you want to rent out the condo? Are there any rental restrictions in the community? If you plan on making this a long-term investment, you probably don't want any rental restrictions that could hurt your future ability to rent out your condo. Number 5 is pet restrictions. Now, if you have a pet or plan on getting a pet, be absolutely sure you understand the pet restrictions before you move into the building. Sometimes condos will only allow a cat, or if they do allow dogs, there's going to be a restriction on either the type, the size, or the weight of the dog. So please, please, before you move in, understand the pet restrictions and what is allowed and what is not allowed. Okay, we're into the bonus round here. We're going to hit on one more thing. Number 6 is the developer reputable? So in Arlington, a lot of times developers have other projects that they've worked on in the past, especially for new construction. So if you're looking at either new construction or a newer condominium, do your research and see what other projects the developer has undertaken and what the reviews are. A lot of times it will paint a picture of the newer condominium complex that you're looking at. So there you have it, the top 5, the top 6 things that you need to know before you buy a condo in Arlington, Virginia. If you have any questions or comments at all, please drop them in the comment section below. I look forward to reading it. Also, you can find that it's in the description below a free Arlington Virginia Condo guide that goes much more in depth. It talks about what we talked about here and many, many more, including condo profiles. You can get that for free, doesn't cost a dime. Check that out below. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, create a productive day. Take care.